Good morning, friends. Actually, due to internet problem, it was not able to take the first lecture at 11. So, I am sharing the video lecture now. Let us go back what we have seen. How to find out the normal vector to the surface. I am suggesting you to first see all the lectures of differential geometry so that you can understand what is a surface, what is the how to find out the whether the given geometric object is a surface or not. So these things you should know, and then only you can go to the next point. So I have seen now, I have seen that many of the video have the views near about less than 10. Okay, so it is not good. Every day we are just sharing in half an hour lecture, and that is not much difficult to see an half an hour lecture in a whole day. Correct. So first see all the lectures of differential geometry. I have started our third chapter. So up to 2 or 3 days, the third chapter will be completing. In this fourth chapter, we are having only 2 points. So after that, we will complete our syllabus. Okay. So we have seen what is a tangent, normal, vector field on the surface. Then that we have seen how to find out the normal vector to the surface, and this is what any vector v can be written as a linear combinations of xu and xv, so that we can say that xu and xv are treated as a basis vector. Correct. So next we have one surface is given to you and how to find out the normal vector to the surface. So this del g will show you that del g will give you the normal vector field to the surface. Why it will be a normal vector field? Because its dot product with a vector v is always 0. And what is a vector v? We have dA1 by dt, dA2 by dt, dA3 by dt. And how we have found this? We have this with the help of this g alpha is equal to c. Because if alpha is a curve in a surface and then it should satisfy the equation of a surface, just like a point on a straight line. It must satisfy the equation of a straight line. Okay. So here we have just we have just differentiated this as it is a g is a function of alpha, alpha is a function of t. Why? Because alpha is a function of t, because alpha is a curve, and we know that any curve is a function defined for open interval I to E3. So in open interval I we have only one variable t, right? Rather we may call it is parameter. So with the help of that I have shown you in the last lecture that how the dot product is 0, and hence now we will see some examples. I am not sharing everything on the board because it is not visible for you. From the next 2 or 3 days, I will be writing on your pen tablet. I have purchased a pen tablet. It will come and we'll start with the pen tablet itself. Okay, just like Thingy ma'am is using. Because many students are telling that they are not able to see whatever is there on the board. So I am sharing these screens for that. Right. Find the normal tangent vector field on the sphere, right? So first we have a equation of a sphere. What is an equation of a sphere is x square plus y, sorry, x square plus x square plus y square plus z square is equals to r square. So in another way we can say x1 square plus x1 square, x2 square and x3 square. So in this way, we can write the equation of a sphere as this summation denotes that this is an equation of a sphere. Okay. So here we can write g is equals to r square. So what will be del g? It is nothing but the dou g by dou x, dou g by dou y, dou z, or in another way, dou g by dou x1, dou g by dou x2, and dou g by dou x3. Right. So next we have to just differentiate this equation with respect to x, y, z, and hence we can get derivative of this with respect to x will be dou x1, but all other will be 0 because it is a partial derivative, so other terms will be treated as a constant. Similarly, derivative of g with respect to x2 2x2, all other term with respect to x2. Derivative of x3 with respect to x2 will be 0, derivative of x1 with respect to x2 will be 0. So hence now if you take 2 common, we can have del g by 2. That is, we have proved in the last lecture del g is a normal vector field. So what will be del g by 2? That will also be a one normal vector field. Correct? So what will be del g by 2 is we have got is x1, x2, x3, or in another way we can say it is xyz. Correct? So now any vector v can be written as a linear combination of a natural frame field, or in another way x capital X, which is nothing but x1, x2, x3, which is any arbitrary vector in E3 space, can be written as summation over I xi ui, where x is a normal vector field. Why it is a normal vector field? Because if del g is normal, del g by 2, that is scalar combination of del g, will also be a normal. Right now, both are in the same direction, but it is half of the del g vector. Right. So now we have to find out what is a tangent vector, right? For finding a tangent vector, we should select a vector v in such a way that its dot product with x or a del g by 2 should be equal to 0. So you are going to select this v in such a way that the dot product of these two should be equals to 0. Correct? So for that, what we have to do, if suppose I want to find out a one vector which is who's having the dot product with x1, x2, x3 is 0, what I can do is I can replace instead of x1 I can have x2, and here it is x1, and one of them with the negative sign, and third term will be 0. So I can have the product is 0 if v is equals to x2 minus x1 0. So what is the addition? So as I already told you how to evaluate the dot product of any two vector. Dot product of any two vector, just like if suppose it is a1 a2 a3 and b1 b2 b3, what will be the dot product? A1 a2 a1 b1 plus a2 b2 plus a3 b3 is equals to 0. Why it is equal to 0? Because if it is a normal and this is a vector v. So what is the relation between tangent and normal? The dot product should be equal to 0. So hence we are finding a vector v such that whose dot product with the normal vector should be equal to 0. Correct? So hence here we have found 0 minus these are nothing but the vectors which form the dot product with x1, x2, x3 will be 0. If you see first one, first is 0 plus what will be the second x2, x3, right, with a negative sign. Third term will be x3, x2 with a positive sign. What will be the resultant? Minus x2, x3 plus x2, x3, and the first term is 0. Right, similarly you can go with the second vector. First is 0, second is x2, x3 plus minus x2, x3. Right, and here you can see first term is 0, second term is positive, third term is negative with the same term. x3, x2, this is x3, x2, next is minus x2, x3, and the resultant will be 0. Similarly, you can go for the third vector. What is the third vector? x1, x1. Sorry, it should be x3 here. Here it should be x3 and here it should be x1. So this third vector is we are wrong, and fourth vector is also wrong. So you can have many combinations, and actually there are 6 combinations are possible in which the dot product is 0. But now if you can see here this x2 minus x1 0, and here it is x1 x2 x3. So hence we have to find out one vector v such that the dot product of v with the normal vector should be equal to 0. This was a question in a SETNET exam. Those who want to prepare for SETNET can go, or in another way, you can go for some statistic related exams. There are mutual fund related exams. You can be a mutual fund expert. There are so many opportunities for a mutual fund person. Even you can go in a stock market. Even there are some government job also for except teaching. There are many government jobs also for mathematics student. Yesterday, ma'am shared you one uh, paper fitting in which there are some jobs for statistical mathematical officers. For that, you must have some experience being as working as a statistical officer. Even there are some jobs in stock market, mutual fund, and you can start your own business. As being a mathematician, you are good at a logic. So even in the stock market, there is all things depends on the logic, and mathematicians can, no one other than mathematician have a good logic, right? So we can apply a logic and we can become a good stock market. So try to utilize your this time of this time where you don't want to go anywhere, even you don't want to come to the college. Even you can be a ebook writer. You can become an actuarial mathematician. Treasury management is also a one good job. Even after completing a PhD, if you suppose want to be a concentrate on security itself, you can go with the JRF. No doubt, due to Modi government now, actually fellowship will also be, पता नहीं fellowship भी देंगे क्या नहीं, because माइनॉरिटी के सभी फेलोशिप बंद किए हैं सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट में. So if JRF is continued in Modi government, so you can start with you can start your PhD and complete your PhD being a JRF, that is a Junior Research Fellowship, and after that you can go in a company for being an analyst, right? That is also a good job. At least 12 lakh per year you will get a package, correct? So let us go for the next examples. So these are the example you can solve. Um, Let us go for next one. Find a non-vanishing normal vector field on z is equal to xy. What is z is equal to xy? That we will see later on. Also find two linearly independent tangent vector fields at each point of the surface n. Right? What is the question? You have to find out a normal vector field, uh, non-vanishing normal vector field, and also find the linearly independent vector fields at each point of the surface. Okay. Instead of saying vector field, we can say it is tangent vector field. So here also we have to find out tangent vector field. First we have to find out a normal vector. Now to find out a normal to this surface, we have to first write down the equation of a surface as g is equal to z minus xy. Whenever you are having the variable, keep it one side. If you have a constant, just like in the last example, r that radius was constant, so we have kept it outside g is equal to r square. But if you are having the variable, keep it b is equal to something, right? If you are having a constant, that you can keep outside. Okay. So now we have to find out del g. What will be del g? Dou g by dou x, dou g by dou y, dou g by dou. You have to find out just partial derivative of this function with respect to x. That is very easy to find out. Now, if you got the normal vector field, you have to just find out a one vector or collection of vector here in such a way that the dot product of this vector with a normal vector should be equal to 0. So what will be the combinations possible for vector v such that the dot product with this vector should be equal to 0? So if you see here, they have given us xy. So what will be minus xy? The second term is 0, third term is z. So what is here? Minus xy. So z minus xy. What is the value of z minus xy from this equation? Z minus xy is nothing but equals to 0. Similarly, you can have this second vector x y, product of this x and y with negative sign is minus xy, and this is plus xy, and the third is 1 into 0, 0. So that is also product is 0. Next, first term is 0, second is minus xy plus z. Again, z minus xy or minus xy plus z is nothing but from this equation it is equal to 0. Hence, we get linearly independent vector. In this way, you can find out many linearly independent vectors. This actually in the last lecture I have given you one homework. No one has approached to me. That means no one has seen that lecture. So in this lecture also I am going to give one homework so that I can understand that how many of you are seeing the lecture. Okay. So the product of these two we are going to evaluate, and you have to tell me how many such a vectors are possible such that the dot product with the normal vector is equal to 0. Right? So here prove that a vector v tangent to the surface M at a point P if and only if vector v3 is written as dou f by dou x p1 p2 dou f by dou x p at a point p1 p2. And what is v1 v2? v1 v2 are nothing but the coordinates of a tangent vector v. Okay. So what we have to prove here? This theorem we can prove very easily that we have to start with the our last theorem that we have proved. Sorry, lemma we have proved that any vector v can be written as linear combinations of xu and xv. Let p be the any point on the surface. With this point, we have to find out one vector v. Okay, let v be the any point, x be a patch such that x of u naught v naught is equal to p. Let v be any vector at a point p. Okay, so it will be a vector to the surface to be a vector tangent vector to the surface M. If it is tangent vector to the surface M, it means that it should be a tangent vector to at least one curve in the surface. Because what is a tangent vector? What is a surface? It is nothing but the collection of all the curve that we have created patch. How to create a patch computations? Because each straight line we have converted it into a curve. Right? So any vector v can be written as linear combinations of xu and xv. So here this theorem we are going to prove with the help of the lemma that we have proved in the last lecture. So vector v3 we have to write in the linear combinations of partial derivative dou f by dou x1, dou f by dou x, dou f by dou x. So it should not be x, it should be y, I think. And these are the nothing but the coordinates of v1 and v2. Right. So let us define a function x of xy, that is x be a mapping from D to E3, and let us define this function. But we are provided with a surface z is equal to f of xy. So hence z instead of z we have written it is f of xy. So obviously it will be a patch because we have already proved that if third variable is nothing but the linear combinations of first two, or if it is a function of first two, then obviously it will be a Monge patch, and as it is a Monge patch, it should be a coordinate patch. So no need to prove x of xy x should be a patch or not. Okay, by definition of a Monge patch or Monge patch, we can say that it is a coordinate patch. Correct. So if we have vector to the surface M, by the last lemma we can write it is linear combinations of, instead of writing xu xv, we have written as xxx and xy. Correct. So let us find out the partial derivative of capital X with respect to X, partial derivative of capital X with respect to Y. Right. As we have written, it is in terms of X and Y instead of writing in terms of U and V. So if we are writing in terms of U and V, then you can differentiate with respect to U and with respect to V. But here we have written this X in terms of two variable X and Y. So hence we are going to differentiate with respect to X and Y. So first we have to differentiate X with respect to X. Okay, capital X with respect to X. So derivative of X with respect to X is 1. Derivative of Y is 0. So we have to differentiate a function f with respect to X, as it is a function of two variables. Hence we have to evaluate the partial derivative. Okay, after writing this, any vector v from the lemma can be written as a linear combinations of these xu and xv. In this case, it is xx and xy. And hence now we have to add them. After adding them, we can get it is nothing but as this V is nothing but V1, V2, V3. Okay, so by coordinate wise equality, here you can write V1, V2, V3. So what is V1? C1, V2 is C2, V3 is nothing but this C1 dou y by dou x plus C2 dou y by dou y. There was a mistake in the question here, it should be dou y by dou y. So you should correct it. Right, so any vector V3 now can be written as a linear combinations of V1 and V2 because this C1 is nothing but V1 and C2 is nothing but V2. So instead of writing C1, C2, we can write V1, V2. What are V1, V2, V3? These are nothing but the coordinates of a tangent vector V, and hence we can prove the result. Okay. In this way, many examples are given to you to solve them. I suggest to solve this. Actually, as it is not a physical, I cannot check the how many of your students have checked it, how many have doubt or this because while having a physical lecture, we can read your faces sometime if you are not able to know. But as it is a recorded lecture, you can see the lecturer more time so that you can understand if you're having any doubt. But still, if you have any kind of doubt, you can message us or you can ask it in a live lecture. Right. So here we have completed our third chapter, and in the next lecture we have to start our shape operator. In the shape operator, first we'll define shape operator definition, and then there are some theorems related to shape operator. Then we'll see normal curvatures, and then it is the last point for this is the Gaussian and mean curvature. Only 3 points are there in this topic of shape operator. So we will complete it very shortly. For the third chapter, let me remind what we have seen in the third chapter. We have started with the definition of a coordinate patch, proper patch. Then what is a coordinate patch? It is nothing but a 1 and regularity. What is x? XPM mapping from D to E3 such that x of u is equal to XYZ. Now that XYZ you have to find out. Correct? So after that we have seen what is surface of revolutions and then what is singular point. Right? What is axis of revolution, what is a profile curve, and how to find out if you are having any curve, if you revolve that curve around a fixed axis, then whatever the 3D object we are getting, how to find out the coordinates of that 3D object. What is a parameterization? Parameterization means what? Just you have to prove regularity. What is X is said to be regular if the rank of the Jacobian matrix is equals to dimension of a domain. In the next, we have proved the theorem that X is said to be regular if and only if XU cross XY is not equal to 0. Right? Next, we have proved that EG minus F square is not equal to 0. Also, ensure that your surface, your function x is a regular. So after that we have seen how to find out the whether the given object is a surface or not. For that you have to simply check dg is equal to 0 or not equal to 0. First check dg is equal to 0. So at which point dg is equal to 0, then you have to find out whether that point is in the surface M or not. Okay, if you are getting 0, 0, 0, put that point 0, 0, 0 in the surface equation of a surface, and if it's satisfied then you can say that at this point this equation is not a surface, and so that we can generalize the concept the given geometric object is not a surface. After that we have seen some examples how to prove the mapping axis, coordinate patch, proper patch, and so on. These are differentiable functions. We have seen one lemma. We have seen that if you are having any curve alpha whose part in a surface and actually the mapping from D to E3, and so with the help of that we have defined x inverse of alpha. Okay, so after that we have seen what is a tangent vector, what is a tangent space or tangent plane on a surface, and TPM. Instead of TPM we have studied TP of E3 in the first chapter. So wherever you are having E3, just replace it by M, because M is also one subset of E3. So it is just all the definitions of those things which we have seen in the first chapter as reduced to, or it is restricted to our surface M. What is a tangent vector? What is a TP of M, TPM, and all. So I suggest all the students to read this notes, even watch all the lectures, because I have come to know that today I have seen but how many views are there? So only five views, three views, two views like this are there for a differential geometry lecture. So at least half an hour you can give for watching the lectures, right? So watch the lectures regularly because as we complete the syllabus, it will be much difficult for you to read or to watch all the lectures because no doubt it is difficult to do this because you have ना आपको आदत पड़ गई है ना यूट्यूब पे मूवी देखने का राइट फॉर मूवी यू कैन sit for 3 hours but for lecture you cannot see the lecture of half an hour. I'm not giving a lecture of 1 hour because you will be bored of 1 hour lecture, so that's why I'm sharing an half an hour lecture itself so that you will not feel a bored, right? Go through all the assignments also